here, let's continue our discussion about demand. More specifically, in this video, we're going to check out the factors that will change or affect people's purchasing decision. Now, the first and the foremost factor is the price, or more precisely, it's a price of our good, P. Okay. We already find that the higher the price, the lower the quantity demanded, right? This is a relationship we already found in the previous video. Okay, we said that when the price is higher, the quantity demanded, so Q superscript D means quantity demanded is going to be lower, right? Or vice versa, when the price is lower, we find that the quantity demanded is higher. Okay, in other words, the cheaper, the more demand, okay, or quantity demanded. So this inverse relationship is so-called the law of demand. Okay, we call this a law because we believe it's universally true. Okay, law of demand says a higher price for a good or service, other things equal, leads people to demand a smaller quantity of that good or service. Again, in the previous example on the basketball tickets, we find that when the price goes up from $4 per ticket to $20, the quantity demanded falls from 10,000 to 2,000. Okay. Now here we also need to clarify these three words: other things equal, or sometimes we use Latin words, ceteris paribus. Now, other things equal here means there could be some other factors that will change people's purchasing decision. However, here, when we look at the law of demand, we narrowly focused on the influence of price of our good, okay, upon the purchasing decision. We hold other things equal, okay, or constant, so we don't have to worry about other possibilities. Okay, all right. Now, if you remember in the previous example or video, we also drew a downward sloping demand curve, right? I'm not gonna, show you more details like the coordinates and numbers. Okay, so here the key is this downward sloping curve. Now, at this point, it might be more clear to you that here the downward sloping curve, or the inverse relationship, or the law of demand, these are the equivalent things. Okay, these are just interchangeable ways for us to show you the relationship between the price and the quantity demanded. Okay, by the way, some of you might get confused if you check out the book. You find that the book author probably start with a straight line, a downward sloping straight line. Okay, now here the key is the downward sloping. Okay, it's not the C word curve. Here it could be a curve, it could be a straight line, it doesn't matter. Okay, and actually, later in your life, if you're working for a company doing some marketing surveys, you ask people on the street, different prices and each how much they're willing and able to buy. And once you get all the data, you draw your own demand curve. You may find that it could be a very irregular curve. Okay, in other words, it's not smooth at all. So again, the key here is downward sloping. Okay, because that tells us a higher price leads to a lower quantity demanded, or vice versa. All right. So this is the first factor. Okay, that will change how much people would be willing and able to buy. Now, the second factor is income. Okay, here when we look at the income, please remember we're going to hold the price of our good fixed. Okay, so the price is not going to change, but we're going to look at the income. Okay, now here, based upon the relationship between income and quantity, people are willing and people are buying or demanding. Now we could have the normal good and the inferior goods. Okay, normal good means when your income goes up, you would like to buy more. Here we're gonna say demand would go up. Okay, you probably want to know why we don't use quantity demanded here. Now, in a few minutes, we're gonna explain this to you. Okay, so anyway, here capital letter D stands for demand. Okay, or vice versa. If income falls, the demand is gonna go down. Okay, people would buy less. Right? Now, what could be the examples? There could be a lot of examples around us. Okay, for example, a MacBook. Okay, when you have a higher income, you're more likely to buy a MacBook. Okay, I'm sorry. Or a Porsche. Okay, a Mercedes. Luxury cars, right? Or a house, okay? Or a pretty fancy headphones, okay? A new iPhone. A lot of things are around us. Again, when we make more money, when we get richer, we are more likely to buy them. Okay. Now, inferior goods is pretty interesting. Okay, it's not that common around us compared to the normal good, but we do have a number of things or services around us. They are inferior goods. Now, inferior goods means when we make more money, our demand for these type of goods or services are actually going down. Okay, vice versa, when our income falls, our demand would go up. Okay, now there could be a lot of examples around you. Okay, a college student, for example, the used cars, right? So when we have a higher income, we're more likely to buy a brand new car. So our demand for used car will go down. Okay. The second example could be the bus service. When we have a lower income, we rely more upon the public transportation, such as bus or subways. Okay, when we get more income, we're gonna drive, so we would have a lower demand for bus service. All right, and other examples could be ramen noodles, okay, fast food. All right, and when we have a higher income, we would like to eat healthy, so we're gonna stay away with the fast food or ramen noodles. Okay, so you can definitely come up with your own examples. I bet you can have a lot of interesting examples. All right. Now here, let's take a look at this example. Okay, what was the first thing that the U.S. government did to stimulate domestic demand when financial crisis hit the economy? Okay, now you can definitely Google this, but what the U.S. government did as the very first thing back in 2007. So we're not talking about this ongoing one, okay, because of the COVID-19. We're looking at more than a decade ago, 2007, 2008 financial crisis. The first response from the U.S. government is to give each person up to $400, and each household up to $800. Okay. Now, in the past few weeks, we also received the COVID-19 stimulus check, right? So each person receives $1,200. Okay. Now, the reason the government does this is because they believe or they assume that most of the things we're going to purchase in our life are normal goods. So when we have a higher income, we're going to demand more of them, right? When we buy more stuff, then the firms can continue producing. They won't lay off people. All right. Now here, let's go back to the previous worksheet here and take a look at question number 4, because it will give us a chance to check out what's going to happen on the graph when income changes. Okay. Now here we find that because of the financial crisis, reduced the basketball fans' income. So the new demand schedule is as follows. Okay. Now they ask us to put a new demand curve on the same diagram in question number 3. Okay. Now let's check this out. When the price is $4 per ticket, the quantity demanded becomes 9,000. So if we put that on the graph, we will find that it's going to be the new combination between the price and the quantity is going to be here, right? 9,000. It's the midpoint between 8,000 and 10,000. When the price increases to $8 per ticket, the quantity demanded becomes 7,000. So it's right here, right? When the price is 12, it becomes 5,000. When price is $16 per ticket, the quantity demanded is 3,000. And when the price is 20, the quantity becomes 1,000. Now we're going to connect them one more time. So let's see, this is going to be the D prime, the new demand curve. Okay. Interestingly, we find that the new demand curve lies on the left-hand side of the previous one. In other words, there's a leftward shift of the demand curve. Okay, so if we put that here, we find that when the basketball fans' income decreases, they're gonna buy less. Okay, so the demand for basketball tickets decreases as a result. Okay, because they're moving towards the same direction, so we believe it is a normal good. The basketball ticket is a normal good. Okay, as we said, if a lower income leads to a higher demand, it means it's inferior. But that's not what this table suggests, right? Now here, you probably already find a graphical difference between number 3 and number 4. In number 3, we said that a lower price leads to a higher quantity demanded. So there's a movement along the curve. But in number 4, what we find is a lower income leads to a leftward shift of the demand curve. Okay, so when are we going to move along the curve? When we're going to shift the curve? We will discuss that later in this chapter.